Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. And trust me guys, it works. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And the best of all, it is totally free. Yes, totally free. So download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey Marco,
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
how are you?
Pretty good about you?
Not too bad. Sorry about that. I don't know why I couldn't log on.
Oh no, you're good. That's why I decided just to do Riverside since you don't have to log into anything.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah, because I did do Microsoft Teams, but I decided to switch it to Google Meet just in case if if it wasn't gonna let people in. And since Google
Sure.
Meet is just browser based, just like this one, I thought it'd be easier. But obviously, I guess you had to sign in to Google, I'm assuming, and
Sure.
it made it harder. So I don't know if I'll keep it through Google Meet or just keep it with Microsoft Teams. But right now, I guess this one will work.
Cool. So I'm ready whenever you are, Marco.
Oh, we're already starting. Recording's already going.
Okay, it's already going.
Yeah, that's how I do it. That's like no questions, like no pre-questions, no nothing. We just then I hit record. We start it that way, nice and raw.
Okay, good stuff.
So for the people out there, can you explain, what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a Reiki master practitioner and a meditation teacher, and I help people primarily with anger problems. So I use techniques through meditation to help them um, figure out their triggers and manage their anger through their day-to-day lives. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Perfect. And what made you want to do it?
Um, I've always wanted, I've always been drawn to sort of holistic sort of remedies um, and just sort of healing yourself through sort of healing homeopathic medicines and all that sort of stuff. And I found that I really gravitate towards this because ideally what you're doing is you're helping people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just gives me the biggest joy just to help someone. I love helping someone. Um, so it's a little bit of a selfish reason, but it's just so that I can feel good, I suppose, by helping someone.
Nothing's ever selfish. And by the way, this will get posted out on New Year's, which would be a perfect time for people that want to do, New Year's resolutions and all that fun stuff. But anywho, besides that
So
point, um, why do people? I guess I can say it this way: why are people? What? I can't speak right now. Uh, why do more people get mad than others? Like why? Like why are there more anger built up in one person compared to another person? And let's say they're both going through the same thing, but one is just handling it better than the other.
good question. The reason I believe that people get more angry than other people is because they create that pathway to their brains, to that anger area of your brain. So if I could just sort of digress a little bit from there, just explain about what awareness in the mind is, and I'll answer that question. So you have the mind, which is your head, and in your head you have different compartments. So you have a happy side, you have a jealous side, you have an envious side, you have an anger side, you have all these different areas. And awareness is like a globe of light. And what that awareness does is it travels within your head. So once it goes to the angry area of the mind, it'll light up and it'll give you the emotion of being angry. It'll travel to the happy side of the brain and it'll light up and it'll give you that emotion of feeling happy. And what people tend to do, just to answer your question, is people tend to be more in that angry area of their mind a lot. Anything good can happen to them. They might have just won £10 million on the lottery, and they'll still find some negative aspect to it because their awareness is constantly in that angry area of their mind. They've created that pathway. Anything happens, let's just go straight to the angry area of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you'll come across people who are very positive, very happy, and you say, "Oh, they're always such a jolly person," right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they reside in that part of their brain. Their awareness is in that side of their brain where it's constantly happy. So I hope, yeah, I think that answers your question because people reside there so much. That's why.
Perfect. And have you ever heard the saying, hurt people hurt people?
I haven't, no.
No, well, I guess it's a saying. I think I heard it on Joe Rogan's, and then my girlfriend, she goes to school for human services, and she has to take some psychology classes. And in one
Yeah,
of her classes, they talked about that same saying about hurt people, which obviously, from the if with how the saying says, people that are hurt are gonna hurt other people. Why do you think that? Why do you think people who are angry or hurt or miserable want others to be like that too?
I suppose. I suppose it's because they don't know anything different. I suppose it's a bit like this. When people who are very uh, what's the word? People who tend to not tell the truth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who are a bit deceitful. They will always look at other people in the same light. That, oh, every person is not honest, right? So, I suppose it's because people tend to think other people are like themselves. If I'm generally a good person, I look for the good in someone. I'll always think that person is good, irrespective of how bad they are in their lives. I have a lot of people that come to me from all walks of life, professionals, people in poverty, people who are super rich, and we all come. I always look for the good in someone because that's my nature, right? And I tend to find it as well. I will find it
Mm-hmm.
because I believe there is good in someone. Hurt, the same that you mentioned, sorry, what was it again? It was hurt people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably because that's all they know. They don't know anything different than that. So when they start to change, and this is part of what I do, perhaps in you know the sort of service I provide for people is, I help people move their awareness from that part of their brain, so that in those moments they can see the good in people. They can be a little bit more empathetic. They can be happy. When something bad does happen, you know, make them see the good, make them find the good in that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's because that reason people just don't know any better. And if you don't, then how can you blame them for being the way they are? When I was very young, I grew up from the UK. I'm from London. I'm of Asian heritage, and back in the sort of 80s, 70s, 80s, when I was growing up, there was a lot of racists in this part of the world, and you we had kids that used to say really bad things to us. And the first thing my parents would say is that it's not the child's fault, it's the parents' fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because children aren't born like that, right? They're taught how to be racist. Okay. So, I think it covers that same sort of point, right? It's just how you're taught, and it's just their upbringing, maybe. It's just the people that they surround themselves with that makes them constantly think in a particular way or create those really bad habits, you know? And it's about breaking those habits then. finding those trigger points and breaking those habits so that they can then start to think in a different way and have a different outcome to life.
Yeah, that's how kind of it is with everything. I guess you can say it's like environmental in a way, where people learn from their environment, like how you said, like from their parents,
Yeah,
with how kids are
yeah, yeah,
sometimes, just how people are sometimes, the people like the friends they hang out with. That some people can act like that, and it's just also through
yeah,
experiences where people, again, when they're always angry, they're always miserable, and or even
yeah.
happy because a lot of just whatever they're going through. So no one's life is perfect, obviously. I mean,
No,
everyone goes through
absolutely.
different things. That's what creates
Yeah,
the character on someone.
yeah,
With always a sad thing to see people who are miserable, who you can see in them that just with a little bit of help with the right person can help them. But
yeah,
it's also like in that comfort zone where, which again, sad and scary thing to see, but where people are just in that negative area for so long that at that point that's their comfort zone. They're comfortable in there to when
yeah,
if they want to be better or they see anything positive, they don't,
yeah,
it's uncomfortable for them because they've always either, let's say they were from the beginning experiencing positive stuff and then life happened, everything went down south, and then they were there for so long that now they're comfortable there. And it's that's why some people, they, you can make them smile, you can try your best to make them happy, and they they still like they you'll see us, you maybe crack a smile, but they're just still miserable. And
yeah. Exactly. You're right. It's a bit like I have this analogy. When I was younger, I used to go to a friend's house, and I used to have to cut through the park to get there,
mm-hmm,
and it was like an oval shaped park, so we would have to go on the pavement to get to it. So you had like a couple of entrances to the park, so go to one
mm-hmm,
entrance and come out the other. And one day it was raining quite a bit, and I was just on my way to my friends, and I thought, oh, you know what, it'll be quicker if I just cut through on the grass, yeah. If I go on my bike through the grass and just cut through the park like that. So I that's what I did. Um, and then the next time I went to my friend's house, it wasn't raining, but I thought, oh, that last time I went through the grass, it was a lot quicker. So I'm just going to go down there. Human nature is to find the easiest possible solution to anything. Um, and when I did that, I ended up creating a path in the grass in the park. And then I noticed other people riding their bike on there. I noticed other people walking on there because, like when you walk over something so much on a piece of grass, it starts to die, doesn't it? That bit.
mm-hmm,
And it's the same with our thoughts as well. We tend to create those sort of grooves. The same sort of groove I created in that park. We create those same grooves in our mind. And that could be habit. That could be in the form of a habit. Being angry, being happy, being silly, whatever it may be. We create these grooves in our minds, and it becomes really easy to get to because we don't have to. We don't have to. You know, reinvent the wheel to get there. It's so easy to go there because we've created that groove already. So yeah, it's definitely it's with anything, like you said before. It's to do with the environment, the type of people that you hang around with, your circumstances in life. People often play the card of, well, this has happened to me and that's happened to me, and yes, it's very unfortunate, and it's not your fault that it's happened to you, but what are you going to do about it? You're not going to continue. If you continue moaning about it, nothing's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
All you're doing is create that groove is getting thicker and thicker and thicker, and you're allowing your awareness to go to that part of your brain which is very negative. Um, so you have to make that choice then. Like, what is it that I'm going to do to change that feeling, to change the way I think? If you carry on doing the same thing, 1 plus 1 is always going to be 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keeping 1 plus 1 is still going to be 2. If you do 1 plus 5, you're going to get a different result. So it's very much down to the individual how they change what the outcome is in their life, opposed to blaming it on X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I get it. Bad things happen to people. I completely get it. And a lot of bad things have happened to me in my life. Do I sit here dwelling? Oh, it's this person's fault, that person's fault, or if I didn't take a right turn, and this would not happen. And, yeah, there's always ifs and buts in life, but it's happened now. What are you going to do about it? What do you learn from that situation? How do you move on from that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, so many people are stuck in the past. So many people keep trying to live the past instead of just trying to live in the future. Because I know there was a thing that Joe Rogan said, which I guess you can kind of say stuck with me. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I heard it a bit ago, so I might not say it word for word. But I know he said something about kind of like how you said when people are like when bad stuff happens to them and they're kind of just moaning and whining and crying about it, about this is why I'm here, or I should have done this for this outcome, and yada yada yada. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry all that happened, but that's in the past. Right now is right now, and change your habit or whatever you're like. If you're crying or moaning, if you're whining about whatever you didn't do back then, do it now, so then in the future you can you can see a result, rather than just keep living through it, keep just whining about going through what you're going through instead of making a change. And that's always hard for people, because I mean, I guess you can say I'm part of it, but of being scared to ask for help, because a lot of the times I never really, I guess you could say, like, had help. Like, people said they were there, but really when I asked for help, they kind of were, it was kind of like a job for them, like, oh, I gotta help him.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, to me, even young, I mean, that just stuck with me, because then um it was just trying to help people. It was easy for me. Like, I would always want to help people, but then when it came to me, I was always scared to ask for help, because again, like, either I'd either get people that would just kind of say, "Oh, well, no," or like just people that never really wanted to help, and that's kind of how it is with people nowadays. With that, when they're miserable, a lot of times the reasons why they're miserable, or they're hurt, they're angry, it's just because they're scared to ask for help, because we have either been either struggling financially for years upon years, or trying to uh, fill an empty hole that they've had, like either like they've been single for so long, and so they just have never found a significant other, and or I don't know, I mean, the death of
Yeah.
someone, and it just gets them, and they never ask for help of anything, and it just sticks with them. And through that, I feel like that can create a lot more anger, because they're not asking for help. It's everything just getting built upon them, to where one small click can just, they can just let everything go.
Yeah, I agree. I think the the biggest problem people have sometimes is people that don't ask for help is some of them don't know how to ask for help, or they don't think that they actually need help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's quite a dangerous area, because when you think you don't need help, that means that you're accepting of your environment around you. You think, well, this is life, this is the way it's meant to be, and it's not. And I think deep down inside, we all know that it's not. I just think some people are just they may, and some people feel a weakness asking for help as well. They think it's a sign of weakness if you ask for help, because you should be you know the best person in the world, and you should be able to do everything. And it's impossible to do. It's really hard to do everything. You can't do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some great people out there who can do quite a lot, but then it starts to affect you at some point. You know, if you take parents for example, if you look at there's loads of parents out there, mums and dads, who they do a lot for their children, and for their house. So they look after the children, take them to school, do all the cooking, do all the cleaning, do all the grocery shopping, you know, they do everything. But at some point, it's going to take its toll on you, and you're going to need help. And those people that don't ask for help, that's when they start to break down, you know. When they don't take a rest, when they don't think, oh no, I can't do that because my child needs me more than anything in the world, right now. Um, so yes, people find it very difficult to ask for help. But those people that evolve and know that they need help, I was one of those people in life where I thought, no, I need to change the way I am, the way I behave to, certain situations, and I just don't know how to do it. So how can I do it? And it's a matter of going out there and researching, and yeah, you're going to have some failures, but what life taught me is that failures is just a part of your journey. It helps you to propel to the next step, makes you learn, um, you learn from those mistakes or those failures, and see how you can do it better. It's probably a bit like what you're doing now, your podcast that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure at the beginning it was a little bit difficult, um, and you didn't understand things, but you went away, you researched, you collaborated with people, you found out a bit more, send customer service support some question, and there you go, and you become better and better at it. And that comes back to the point of what we were talking about earlier about habits. You're creating a new habit for yourself, and if you keep at it, then you'll do well at it. I have this saying that my mentor said to me a long time ago, where awareness goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever your awareness is going in life, that's where your energy is flowing to. Yeah. So if you're thinking, today Marco's thinking, yeah, after this podcast, you know, I fancy having, an avocado with toast. Yeah. Now, you may choose a different option. I'm just kidding. The option that's the high one I went for, but you know, you may think that, and then so your awareness is going there, your energy is flowing there. So the first thing you'll probably do is you'll go to your fridge to see if there's an avocado, and see if you've got toast. If you haven't got it, then you'll be like, oh, actually, maybe I need to go to the shop and get it. So your awareness is going there, your energy is flowing there, and then eventually you create, the avocado and toast that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that with anything in life. Anything that you do in life is based on what you've created to a certain degree.
Yeah, that's true. And like with the podcast, I never even thought about creating a podcast. I just, like, I started it this year in July, and like how you said, I mean, this November and December were kind of like the 2 months where I started to get more collaborations with people, with, I guess you can say, strangers, because the collaborations I did were with people I knew, and
Yeah.
I and same with me, because then I want to get my real estate license so I can learn real estate, so then I can invest in real estate when I know how to do it, while also knowing the sales part of it. And so now you said about energy, when I never, I guess you can say, I kind of never really knew what I wanted to do in life, but I kept always telling my parents when I was young, hey, I want to, out of the three siblings, about out of my older brother and my younger sister, me being the middle child, I'm gonna be the rich one. I'm gonna be the one with the most money, and I always keep focusing my energy towards that. But
Good.
it was always one of those things of, how will I get there? But I never knew how. I just kept telling myself, oh, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, but I never knew how, until life happened, and then I guess you can say I started focusing more with my mind. I started looking into myself, and I kept asking myself, first, the why. Why do I want to be a millionaire by the age of 30? Because then that's the goal that I set, is to be a millionaire by the age of 30. Then that's when I started. Okay, let me ask the questions. Why do I want to do it? And then I found my purpose on why. And then I said, okay, uh, I I found it. Now how can I get it? And that's what I'm trying to. And that's, once I started realizing that, opportunities came up with the podcast. Again, I never knew I'd do one. I listened to one and I realized this is actually fun. This is nice. Like, the only hobbies I had were to watch YouTube, and I
Yeah.
guess you can kind of say eat, and that's really it. And scroll through social media. I really didn't have much of a hobby. I used to go to the gym, but then again, life happened, and then my mental state just deteriorated, and I kind of stopped going, which you could probably obviously tell. Um, and then I just, like, I want to also focus my energy towards going to the gym because it was relaxing, but I tried finding other ways to relax, which, in turn with the podcast, I'm studying to try to get my license. And then recently I was meditating, and because I again, I wanted to focus a lot with my mental health, and with meditating, I I've never done it, and so when I did it, it was hard for me because I tried using this one app. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's called Headspace.
Yeah.
And I when I used it, I thought I was doing good, but I don't know. Like, um,
Okay, so Marco, let me ask you a question about meditation because there's a lot of meditation techniques out there. There's a lot of stuff about meditation, but I'm going to ask you the question:
hmm.
How is it? How do you meditate? What is it that you do to meditate?
Well, what I would do is, because since I live with my girlfriend, I'd always want to wake up earlier than her, go to the living room, and kind of just I put in my headphones and put on the noise canceling so I could almost hear almost little to no noise. Sit on the couch and just breathe in and breathe out and just try to clear my mind. But it was always hard for me because I always had so much in my mind that I don't know if there's just maybe there's other ways I could do it. But to me,
Yeah,
there was just so much in my head, especially negative ones, that even if I did it for 10-15 minutes, once I got done meditating, I'd say, well, I don't know if I'm better because I still have those thoughts.
yeah. This is the biggest myth about meditation. The biggest myth about meditation is that you have to clear your mind. You have to be thinking of nothing at all. And Marco, if you were thinking of nothing at all, you'd be dead. You have to be thinking of something when you're doing. If you're conscious, you have to be thinking of something. You cannot be thinking of nothing at all. So the thing in meditation is this. People tend, New Year's is upon us, and people think, oh yeah, I've heard really great things about meditation. I'm gonna, go to YouTube. And I'm gonna find some meditation, some guided meditation. I'm gonna follow that, and people do exactly what you've just described. I've got so many thoughts going in my head. I can't keep, my awareness on one thing or clear my mind completely, and then they fail and they just give up. The whole point of meditation is to, as I was talking earlier about your awareness, you need to learn to move your awareness or keep your awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation is keeping your awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. And in order to do that, you need to be able to know what awareness is, you need to have willpower, and you need to know how to concentrate as well. These are the three things in meditation that are required. And when I'm helping people with regards to their anger or making their habits better in some shape or form, these are the three things that we work on first to incorporate those into their lives. Okay, it's not just about oh yeah, I get angry every time I speak to my girlfriend, or I get angry every time I speak to my dad. That's what I want to work on. No, you need to work on figuring that out in the rest of your life as well. Because how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard that before. How you do anything is how you do everything. So when you sit down to meditation, it's about moving your awareness. For example, for you, Marco, like you said, you want to be a millionaire by the time you're 30. You want to get into real estate, So it's about sitting there, visualizing, keeping your awareness on that thought, that process, and then meditating on that and visualizing what your life would be like as a millionaire, your whys and whats, and what's going to happen when you get the money, and what you're going to do with that money, and how your life's going to look like. Are you going to get married? Are you going to have kids? Are you going to do all of the above or none of the above? Whatever it is, you start to do that. And then wherever your awareness goes, your energy is flowing, right? It's not going into all different directions like what you said you did. Initially, when you sat down to meditate, your awareness is going all over the place. You want to focus it on one thing, right? And then it's about, then after, I think a lot of people might have, maybe some of you listening, or maybe yourself, have heard of the book The Secret, and it's all about manifest, manifesting things into your life. Yes, that's true, you can, and that's part of the process, visualizing. But what you need to do in life is action. You can have the desire to do something, you can have the will to do it, but until you don't apply action to anything, you can't do nothing. If you really want that avocado on toast, you're gonna have to get up and you're gonna have to go and walk and do, and you're gonna have to do something, right? So when it comes down to your real estate, if you want to do something, then you're going to have to get up and research, talk to people, how to do it, where do I get the capital from? You've got to start answering all these questions. And just a little bit of a tip for yourself maybe, and for other people that may be listening, is that if you can spend, and I learned this from a book actually that I read, it's by a guy called Robin Sharma. It's called the 5 a.m. And I believe he's based in the States. Um, and in that book, he says, in the morning, if you can spend 90 minutes on a project, whatever that project is, whatever it is, a passion project, if you can spend 90 minutes on that project every morning, you'll see how quickly that you'll complete it and achieve what you want to achieve. And again, that's the whole thing of where awareness goes, energy flows, right? If your awareness is constantly going there to your real estate business, your energy is flowing there, you're putting energy, that's what's going to grow in your life. If your awareness is constantly going down to something negative in your life, guess what? That's what's going to grow in your life. So it depends where you put your awareness to, you know. And I'm being very conscious of the fact that I keep saying awareness, not the mind. Because people say, "Oh, the mind wanders." No, it's not. The mind doesn't wander. Your awareness wanders. Your mind is stagnant. It's there. You choose where you want your awareness to go to. And what probably happens as well, Marco, is that when you're around people, certain people, or certain things happen to you, you allow people and you allow situations in your life to dictate to you where your awareness goes. So you mentioned that you had a girlfriend. So maybe when your girlfriend comes home, she'll say something to you. Maybe I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm just using you as an example. She may come home and she may say something to you, and you may get really annoyed by it. So you've allowed whatever she said to you to dictate to you how you feel. I was having a little disagreement with my wife a few weeks ago, and one of the things she said to me was, "Oh, look, you go. We'll talk about this afterwards because I don't want to spoil your morning. Because I was stepping out for a couple of hours, and I said, listen, you're not going to spoil my morning because I won't allow it. I won't allow my awareness to go to that part of my brain where, is going to make me annoyed. Yes, I disagreed with some of the things she was saying and vice versa, but I didn't allow it to spoil my morning. I had to come back and deal with it, which I did, but I didn't allow my awareness to go to that part of my brain where I'm going to be annoyed, where I'm going to be angry. I took it to a part of my brain where I was like, actually, you know what? Maybe she has a point. I'm gonna look at this when I come back. I'm gonna address this when I come back. Because there could be something she's saying. So you've got to make that choice in your life, how you move your awareness, where you want it to go.
Exactly. And so then, and so like with the whole, like with your awareness and everything, like let's say, like I, like obviously like when I with like the real estate, when I need to study all the fun stuff and I need to pass a test, what kind of gets me is because I've already failed the test twice, and I'm still going at it to still study. But is there anything that I can do where let's say I study and everything, and then I fail again, and then my mind kind of reverts to, well, you failed, so kind of like it is what it is, I guess. Now, like, is there anything that you think I could do to fix that type of mindset? Like, let's say when I'm meditating and I wanna focus on that, like, how can I not just give up that easily? Like, just say, I gave up. Okay, I guess this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that I can
So,
do or think of?
yeah. So what you're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is your willpower.
Hmm.
Your willpower not to give up. And again, this, as I said to you before, in meditation is all about awareness, concentration, and willpower. So if you're talking about that specific, um, you know, increasing your willpower, if you look at willpower, willpower is very much, um, we're all born with different levels of willpower. You know, some of us are born with level one, some are born with level two, some with level three. But the great thing about willpower is that never it never diminishes. So you can always, you know, if you're at level one, you can increase your willpower to level two. If, and then you can go up and up and up. But with willpower, it never diminishes. It never goes down, and that's when that's how you can start. So understanding that is really important to begin with, and then it's about applying that to your life. So what are the simple things you can do in life to increase your willpower? Yeah. So you could, first of all, if we look at the process of sleeping, yeah. So when you go to sleep, you put your pajamas on, yeah. You then get into bed and then you go to sleep, right? So is that all making sense to you so far, Marcus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, great. So yeah, so when I'm using an example of going to sleep. So when you put your pajamas on, you go to sleep, and then you wake up. So in order to finish off that process, yeah, you make your bed. Yeah. So the first step in increasing your willpower is finish off what you begin. Yeah. So you wake up in the morning. So when you go to sleep, just to reiterate again, pajamas, go to sleep, and when you wake up to finish off that process, just make your bed. Don't go to the toilet. Don't go brush your teeth. Don't go and have a shower, make yourself a coffee, whatever it is. No, you do your bed. Finish off what you begin. Yeah. So that's the first step of how to increase your willpower. The second step of increasing your willpower is then to do a little bit better than you think you can. So if we use the same example of sleep again, so when you wake up in the morning, you finish off that process of sleeping by doing your bed up, you know, maybe you can do it a little bit better this time. Maybe you can, um, do put some fluff your pillows a bit more, uh, take out all the creases out of your duvet. Do a little bit better than you think you can. And then the third thing to increase your willpower is to do even better than you think you can. So maybe when you're doing your bed in the morning, after finishing that process, you then can perhaps tuck your duvet right in. Sometimes when you get to a hotel, and you find it really hard to get into the duvet because it's so tightly tucked in.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
so these are the three things you need to do. So to answer your question about increasing your willpower, and not thinking like that is one. Well, you've got to start applying these things to your life. These little things like doing your bed. When I first started off this process, one of the things I did was I used to do my bed, and I used to then, make sure that every time I have eaten something, I would never leave my sink dirty before I go to sleep. So when I say dirty, there'd be no dishes in the sink, so I'd make sure everything's washed. So in the mornings now, when I go back home, my sink's gonna be empty. When I go to sleep, it'll be empty. So it's these little things. If you start to apply these little things in your life, you'll start to increase your willpower. Because as I said before, willpower never diminishes. Yeah,
Mhm.
you'll always have different levels. Willpower will never diminish. And then the the bigger things in life, like passing the exam or worrying about, oh, will I be able to do it again? They won't affect you that much because you already have it in place. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? So you've got to learn to increase your willpower, and then also when you know, I hope you don't fail the next one, but let's just say, for example, you do. Even now, you may be thinking, oh, I've failed my exam, blah, blah, oh, I can never do it. You're then pushing your awareness down to that negativity, right? Move your awareness to the happy side of your brain, where you're a bit more, no, I can do this, or actually, you know what? Yeah, I messed up a little bit. I didn't really study as much. I'm going to spend more time studying. Now, in order to try and preempt your next question, but like perhaps in order to move your awareness, some people don't know how to move their awareness. Yeah, and it's almost like just moving it so you start thinking in a different way. But it's very hard, especially when you're really upset, when you're really angry about something. It's really hard to move that awareness. I can say, oh no, just if you're having a fight with your partner, just move it to the happy side of the brain, and you'll deal with it a lot better. But then people say, well, how do I move it? In that moment, I'm really annoyed, and what she's saying to me is not right, or what he's saying to me is not right. You know, and the way to do that is pretty much change the way you. What I'm asking you to do is change the way to think. So I have a little tip on how to change the way you think. So when you're, let's just say, in the negative part of your brain, when you start thinking more so for you, Marco, when you're saying, I failed and I'm really thinking really negative, should I just give up? Blah, blah, blah. In order to change it to think, no, 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 I can do it, think of a funny story. Yeah, anything that's happened in your life. So I'll share with you my one. So my one, some years ago, I went with my friends to Tenerife in Spain, and we were there, and it was the last night. And one of my friends, uh, we were taking the mick out of some of our other friends, and she just turned around and she walked into this glass window. It looked very transparent, and it was just so hilarious. It was, only I know how funny it was, and even now, it's just, you know, it's changed the way I think. Literally just thinking about that, I'm more happier. It doesn't mean that negative situation has gone away. All it means is that when you go back to thinking about it now, you're coming from it from a very different part of your brain. You're a lot more positive about it. Oh, actually, you know what? You know, I'm going to study a little bit more. I'm gonna wake up in the morning. Anna said to me, you know, just to work on it, I need to do 90 minutes in the morning. I'm going to do that, or half an hour, whatever it is you decide to do.
Mhm.
I'm going to spend that in the morning doing it. So, and that's about increasing your willpower. Obviously, I've talked about how to do that as well. So hopefully that will help you do that.
What I do sometimes, like, again, with the whole, and not just like studying, because I mean, just like anyone, when you always think you're gonna fail and then you always look at the negative sides, I always have to reassure myself, like, either by listening to some music, like some inspiring music, or listen to podcasts from inspiring people, or just kind of just sitting down, giving myself some time, and I kind of always look into, hey, if you quit now, like, completely quit everything that you're doing, like trying to shoot for real estate, trying to grow the podcast, you completely quit it, just know what you want in the future you won't get. If you want to be getting this, you want to be getting that. If you see yourself doing this and that, you won't have it. You want to see yourself talking with bigger and bigger people, expanding the podcast, you won't see it. If you want to be seeing yourself being a real estate Mongol, you won't see it if you quit now. And then always think of, oh, I can be going to all these trips, I can be doing this, I can have all this, I could have the money to pay for experiences, not luxury stuff. Like, I can be paying for experiences, but if I quit now, I won't have that. And I always, and then again with like music, just inspiring stuff, I'm like, if these guys can do it, if these people are going through tougher times than me, that means I can. If they got out, that means I can do it too. And
Absolutely.
that's just stuff that I always got to keep telling myself. Even though if even in the environment, like the outside force, like even if I don't have people that support me, because my girlfriend is probably one of my biggest supporters. Even though uh, her herself in some situations, I could kind of feel it where she's just glad I'm trying. She doesn't see because in her mind with everything like I said about have getting all this money to pay for experiences and doing all these trips. In her mind, she's just kind of like, well, that's good you have that, but she's never really seen that, so she's just kind of like, well, that's good that you see that, but I've never until I see it, then that's when I know it's real. But for right now, I'm glad you have that. You have that in your mind, and
Yeah,
and
exactly.
even
That's what you're gonna
her
keep
saying
working.
that, I'm I want to prove her. I want to prove to her and to myself of, don't worry, like you will see it. That's why I'm doing this right now, and that's why, even though I go through all these tough times, even though sometimes I'll be hard on myself, but because I know I'm capable of doing it, and I need to get out of my comfort zone, and I need to, if I want to get where I want to get, I need to just put my feet down, even when I'm beating myself down, and just saying, "Okay, I got to do it. I got to get up, no matter how deep I am in the water. I can't just give up now. I got to keep going."
Absolutely, absolutely. Because these, like you say, you look at other people, what they can do, I can do it as well. And that's really good, because they're doing it because their awareness is going there. It's constantly there. That's why they're able to achieve the things that they achieve in life. You know, it doesn't mean sometimes people think, oh, you have to struggle, you have to struggle, you have to struggle in order to attain something good in life. And I don't believe that's entirely true. You don't have to. Yeah, obviously there are struggles, and I get that. But there's got to be a balance in your day as well. If you've had a bit of a rubbish day, and it hasn't got so well, it's fine. There's always tomorrow. You can't think, oh, it doesn't mean that you can't go out and whatever you guys do to enjoy yourself, to have a beer or go for a nice meal. You can still enjoy that in your day. What tends to happen is people start to go down they have that spiral effect, like we were talking earlier, where it just, yeah, no, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and oh no, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm not going to be able to do that. You're right, you're not going to be able to do it. If you say to yourself you're not going to be able to do it, then guess what? That's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to do it. It's pretty much like when you're getting something. Oh, I'm going to be late. 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 Guess what? You're going to be late because that's what you're putting out there. You want to be late. You're not saying, "Yeah, I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be on time."
Yeah.
You're not saying that, are you? So, yeah. Good luck to you, man. I hope you sort of
Oh,
keep
thank you,
keep
thank
at
you.
it and do it. I'm sure you'll get there. You sound like you have the right mindset. Just keep plucking ahead. You know.
Thank you. And hey, I mean, if once it all goes out, like once I'm doing what I'm doing, I might go back to you and say, hey, let me travel over there to the UK and let's hang out sometime or something. I mean,
Yeah, man, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Earlier, I mentioned that, yeah, growing up in the 1780s, it was quite bad here, but it's not so bad now. It's all good. So, yeah, man, for sure, come down, hit us up. We'll,
I don't mind. I don't mind
we'll be
experiencing the UK life. 'Cause, did you say you're based in London, or where did you say you were based at?
yeah, based in London,
Based
yes,
in London.
West London. Yeah,
Man, I mean, I want to mind because and that's also the thing why I want to, like I told you, of paying for experiences and traveling, because if I can travel
yeah,
wherever, and also with like the podcast, one of my things with it is, because right now obviously I'm just doing through video, but I want to, once I have the funds for it, I want to be able to have either do it in person, either here at the studio. Well, I mean, right now it's the apartment, but when I could get the studio, or travel to the wherever that person is, and do the podcast episode there. I mean, having that type of experience, like with you, if let's say we follow up years later and instead of doing the video, I actually go there with you. We could spend some time getting to know each other and enjoying that experience. Hell, probably you can show me other ways to meditate. You can show me your ways, and while there,
Absolutely.
and then do the podcast episode face to face, and it's
Yeah, yeah. And Marco, look, I regularly do sort of Facebook lives. I'm trying to put more content onto my website, so
mm-hmm,
you know, feel free at any time. Just reach out, and there's loads of I put a lot of things on there, so it's just free training I'm putting out there really. Yeah, and if you need advice on how to meditate, yeah, for sure, just yeah, we'll have the discussion offline perhaps about if you wanted to do that in the future. But yeah, by all means, please do get in touch. And look, uh, you said years. I hope it's not years. I hope it's within the year or something. You're able to achieve what you want to achieve.
yeah.
Yeah, let's manifest that. Let's put that out there for you. The next year, you're gonna be able to do whatever it is that you have desire to do. You know.
And because with because like with the manifesting, what I keep telling myself is because I know people say like if like using the word if in there a lot, like if I get there or or like once I get there, and I always gotta tell myself don't tell people or yourself that, because that's kind of telling you that that's a maybe if you get there. It's not that's a maybe, it's I know I'm gonna get there. And so I always tell with my even with my girlfriend when she says about with the whole experience, and she's like, well, I've never really experienced it, so I'm glad you have that. And it's like, no, we will, not that, well, if I get where I want to be, then we can experience it. It's I always, again, with reassuring myself, I'm like, no, I know we'll do it, because I see myself when I go to sleep, when I'm in silence, just trying to manifest everything. I see where I want to be, and that wakes me up and says to get up and go in life, because I also want to help my parents out, make help them retire, help people get their buy groceries. Like I want to, because that's also a part of me where, since I never really got a lot of help, I want to help people too. And I don't want to be that guy, because you've probably heard that saying of like the rich are evil, and and
Yeah, yeah,
and all that
yeah,
fun
yeah.
stuff. And it's like, if I can be rich but still use part of my funds to pay for people's groceries, especially groceries since of inflation. I don't know how bad it is over in the UK, but here in the US,
Bad
it's gotten
everywhere.
bad.
Bad, bad is bad is bad
Bad.
is bad everywhere.
It's
But hey, let's not focus on the bad. It will get better. It will happen. But look, you'll if you have that, as I said before, where your awareness goes, your energy goes. So just keep putting your awareness to that. Actioning things that is really important as well. It's not just about, yeah, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna willfully put my awareness to something, and I'm gonna meditate, and then $1 million is gonna land up in my lap. No, when you get the signs, when you get the intuition to do something, to take action, take it, because that's the sign from whatever you want to call it, God, universe, spirit, whatever it is you want to call it. That's the sign. That's telling you, right, take this next step. This is what's going to help you achieve what you want out of life.
hmm
You know. So yeah, definitely for sure. When you're coming down to London, make sure you hit me up.
yeah. I mean, and like with the whole thing, that's why with 'cause even though yes I'm Catholic, but with like the whole praying, like on certain parts, like when you want to manifest stuff into your lap and people pray for it, like my thing is, you can pray for it. However, if you're not doing anything, it's not gonna fall in your lap. $1 million is not gonna fall in your lap, or in your case, a
Definitely.
million pounds is not gonna fit in your lap. Like
Yeah,
you can pray for it. That's, to me, how I see praying is, it's a it's part of manifesting, but on
exactly the same. Exactly the same.
and so then once you can pray for anything you want, you can pray for a better life, but if you're still stuck in the same loop, you're not going to get out of there until you get out of that loop, until you step forward and say, okay, why do I want to do this, and how can I do it? And you want to finally find the why and the how. That's when the praying, that's when when they call it the blessings, that's when the blessings start coming, because then your bad days start becoming the good days. And then, because people continuously always say they have the bad days and they always focus on the bad days, but they never want to change the bad days. And then that one good day they have, they're like, ah, well, nothing good ever stays. So that's cool. This good thing happened to me today, but I already know nothing good stays. So, and again, they keep focusing on the bad days, and it's like, no, pray. If you want to pray for a better day and go chase that, go get that better day, and then you'll start realizing
Absolutely.
more better days start coming, and you'll realize the good days are finally here. Like the good days they're better than the bad days, obviously, and
Sure, absolutely. Agree, agree.
but do you get, yeah, you have any questions for me for right now at the moment, or anything? I will link your website and I guess your website already has the Facebook, but I'll still link your website, the Facebook, and your Instagram in the description, where people can obviously
Appreciate it,
go
man.
click on it if when they go see it. But any questions for me right now?
No, Marco, I haven't got any questions. Just you know, as I've said in the last few minutes now, I just wish you all the success with whatever you're doing with the podcast. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, if there's anything I can do for you personally, just shout, man. Um, we may be a million miles away, but we're not. It's very easy to connect these days. So yeah, just shout.
Exactly, and so that's like I said. Even though we're a million miles away, but one day we can probably meet up with each other. Hell, one day we
Yeah,
might
yeah, for
even run across the street with each other. We've never seen each other. It's just one day we're walking by, just or we eat at the same restaurant. Let's say I'm down in the UK, we eat at the same restaurant, or we go to the same pub, and until we just message each other and we say, "Oh yeah, I think I saw you," and or
yeah,
something.
exactly. Oh yeah, I do hope to meet you in a pub one day. It'd be good. It'd be good.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll once I know I'll be in the UK, or if I want to do a part two, I'll come. I'll obviously message you, and I could probably bring my girlfriend, so then we could both, so you can both show us to meditate better, and we could go over there and meditate, and then also do a
Absolutely.
follow up episode, and yeah, kind of just uh, enjoy some days over there
Yeah,
with you.
man, for sure, for sure.
But
Cool. All right, Marco.
all right. Like I said, I will link everything in the description. Uh, yours is a perfect one because already have one for Christmas, so yours will be a perfect one for New Year's, and because that's Sunday. It's I believe New Year's,
Great.
and so people want to do the New Year's resolutions. This episode I feel like would be a perfect starting episode for the year.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Marco. You have a good day.
All
Take
right,
care, buddy.
all right. Thank you. You too. And it will be out 11 a.m. my time, Central Time, and so
Yeah.
it'll and for your end it'll probably be probably more in the in what like afternoon, probably closer to nighttime. I'm assuming.
Sure. Yeah. No worries. I mean, you let me know, and I'll put the links out on my social medias as well, and let's spread the word.
Perfect. Well, you
Cool.
have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Marco. Take care, buddy.
All
See
right.
ya. Bye.